by all means, go do it.
Anybody else? This gentleman right here in the picture.
I was just, one of the things that I learned, I just started, this is the first time I ever made something personally, and I just want to ask, how long does it take you to make the costume? Because I know for beginners, it's very easy to underestimate the amount of time you need. And what I went into was I gave myself, in my opinion, 6 months or more to make it. But that was just my recommendation, just on my
Well,
guess.
that's a good idea. Time management is very important, and you do want to give yourself ample time for a convention because you might be like me and have plans to wear your Lady Joker costume today, but you don't finish it in time because you're doing your masquerade stuff, so you have to recycle your Lady Chewie. Because I was going to be Lady Joker and go to the pen. Now I can't. So, time management. You just kind of learn. Maybe gauge as you're working on your costume. Gauge how long it takes you to do certain items, and then just keep trying to better yourself. But don't take any shortcuts that could because then a stitch of time saves 9. It's like you do something in a hurry, and then it's going to be 3 times as long to take it apart.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And there's always another convention. If you miss a
Yeah.
deadline,
Exactly.
then you can do bigger, better, and better for the next one.
Exactly. I'm sorry, Kimberly keeps putting her hand up there.
Can you guys talk about makeup technique, especially the Joker?
yes.
Just because
Well, we would have to have a makeup specialist on the.
Sir.
Sit next to me, it might be safer.
That's how I've done all of this. Okay, makeup technique. Let's see. In a nutshell, I guess. I don't know. I'll talk about this because that's what people see right now. Okay, this. It's like costuming. It's a lot of time and a lot of practice. A lot of mistakes made along the way, because this isn't the first time I did this. And so it's experimenting, just like with materials and fabrics and glues, whatever. At the same time, experimenting with every type of makeup I can get my hands on, what I could afford. I mean, a lot of this is actually women's beauty makeup that's used to shadow and highlight and everything else. But it's time, it's practice. I mean, this is layers. We woke up at 4:30 this morning and started doing stuff, and because between both of our makeup and dressing and everything else, and then trawling down, we got here like 10, 15. It takes a chunk. I mean, if she's not getting dressed, it's just me doing my thing. It's like, I say it's about 3.5 hours from naked to Joker. And most of that's, from here up. The dressing is like 10 minutes. This is what takes the time. It's building up layers. It's highlighting and shadowing in my case. It's working with my contours. It's not just a white base of makeup. People ask me all the time, like, what makeup do you use? Well, it's not one. It's like 15 or 14, and there's like 9 different brands between them, and they're really just a hodgepodge. It's not like I use Ben. I don't use any one particular. I'm just like, ooh, this eyeshadow from Lancome's kind of nice, or whatever, for my temples, whatever. Not even for this, just for this or for that, or for whatever other spot. I think, in my opinion, with characters where, like the Joker, where, what's his skin color? It's white. Okay, we know that. Well, there's lots of characters out there like that in comic books and in movies. What's your skin color? It's green, or it's blue. I think the biggest problem and the mistake people make is they do just that color, and that's it. That's all they do. And so then what happens is, maybe outdoors with like some natural lighting, it can look kind of nice, but as soon as you're walking on a convention with flashes, guess what? You're blue or you're white. And I saw so many Jokers. Part of the reason I did the Joker is just because I love the character, and I never, except for maybe 1 or 2 instances, I never really seen it done the way I wanted to see it done. And so many times when people take photos of the flash, you just get this washout of white. So what do? There's highlighting and shadowing. I mean, look at tutorials for like runway model makeup online, where it talks about contouring, highlighting, shadowing, all the natural features. That way those runway models, when they're out in those bright, bold, flattening lights, they still have a nose and eyes and cheekbones and a jaw and a mouth and face. It's the same kind of thing. If you're playing a character who's all green or all blue or all orange, don't just do all orange. Do all orange and then lightly highlight some of the protruding features and shadows, some of the things you want to contour. And you can also use highlighting and shadowing, as a lot of women know with beauty makeup, to make different things different proportions. Make your nose buttoниer or longer or whatever else. Make your eyes bigger or smaller.
Make your boobs bigger. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's it. On that.
You take like the tan eyeshadow, and you basically
No, my tits look
right
huge
up
today.
here.
Look at these things.
So my first masquerade, I was a Playboy bunny, and I have a fairly decent rack. But for some reason I went to them at we had makeovers backstage, and I was like, I want huge boobs, and the guy's like, dude, you already have huge boobs. But what he told me is you basically, the upper part right here.
Can I say drag queen?
Yeah, they know too. Find
That's
a
where
drag
my
queen.
makeup is.
But you
based
do a
off
darker
drag
color
queen.
up here, and then a lighter color right here, and bam, you look like you have huge traction.
How long does it take you to do your makeup? It's awesome.
Can you stand up so people can see this?
Yeah, that's some good makeup.
Yeah.
Stand up for it.
I have an airbrush, and that's what I was going to ask, if you use an airbrush, or if you use pancake makeup.
I haven't used an airbrush. Yeah, it's a lot of they're based, a lot of powder and things like that.
Because it comes out amazing. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's an hour for me and about an hour for her as well.
Nice. That's really cool. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's very smooth.
Yeah, it stays set all day.
And yeah, she was saying like the drag queen thing. Even you can't tell with Harley as much.
If my mouth is off, you can tell.
You can tell
my
more.
eyeshadow is very.
But believe it or not, everything same with her is very highlighted and contoured and shadowed because yeah, it looks like a plain soft even white because that's what Harley's supposed to look like. But in photographs for the flash, you still have a face because
There's shadows under my nose.
the nose, the chin's highlighted, the lips, the jaws, everything's highlighted.
Yeah,
Give it
blush.
extra
is
depth.
I have cheeks, whereas another Harley's is just white, and when you smile.
That was
it's
me
really
yesterday.
goes, see a lot.
Well,
really good.
the other thing you can do too, when you're experimenting with makeup effects, or staying, even costume in general, take test photos, see how things photograph under different lighting conditions. I mean, when you go to get paint for your house, they even have the samples where you can see it under different lighting conditions. It's no different when you're coming to an event to look into just a little bit of research and just get out that camera, see it with an extreme flash. If you wash out,
Yeah.
you might have to punch things up and be a little bit more overly dramatic with your shadowing. But that's where, if you bring it back around to what I said earlier, get your hands dirty, get in there and try it out.
Yeah, always be aware of how something looks on camera. Especially, like, I like to take photos with the crappiest possible phone camera I can as I'm working on something, because that is the lowest common denominator. Okay, that's what 90% of photos at conventions are going to be, is a crappy phone picture. And so if it looks really good and it has a lot of depth, looks awesome with a phone camera and bad, like bathroom lighting, you're doing all right.
It's time to go. So, thank you all.